So yesterday was a pretty wild day. It was a very long day. We were up early. We got the bus from downtown and went to the New York State Court of Appeals up in Albany. Um, I know you really can't see the courtroom from that still video that their cameras don't really move, but the courtroom was just stunning. I mean, even like when we were in the Court of Appeals in Manhattan, it was just absolutely beautiful. Um, so arguments started, and I reposted the link to yesterday's thread and put the actual video up, and we were first on the docket because they knew we were coming and that there was, a lot of us going to be there, so they put us first. That way we can get in and get out. So that was actually very nice of them to do. Anyway, the court, you can listen to the court proceeding. You can hear Richard Daring is the attorney for the city of New York, and he started the oral arguments yesterday. And then after he spoke, Jake spoke, and then Richard ended. Some of the questions that came out, commentary that came out from Richard Deering from the city was about the rate that they were charging for the HIP plan, which they allege is the benchmark. And even though we all know that it's never been treated as the benchmark, they also questioned, like the lower court did, about how they were dropping the rate of the plan from $188 to $7.50 a month, and that would be the benchmark. And I hope all the union leaders are listening because they allowed this to happen in some way, in some form, and by not speaking out, by not really, you know, taking this by the horns, this raising this issue that they allowed a plan to go from almost $200 a month to under $10 a month to create the benchmark of what the city had to pay for. That's an issue. And and anyone with a half a brain, I mean, you didn't even have to have a full brain, but anyone with a half a brain would know that they were doing that to prevent the city from having to pay for retiree health benefits. So that I think the court recognized that, and then he made the announcement yesterday, Richard, that the rate was jumping back up to $198 per night. And even as of the last documents that we've been watching that are on the OLR website, that's not even on the OLR website yet. And the October Cobra rates are up already. So the city's just used to playing games. If any union leaders are listening to this, you need to understand that the MLC had to agree to this rate change and had to be aware of the rate change, that they were dropping this rate 3 years ago to from $188 a month to $7.50. And then yesterday it was announced in court they were raising the rate to $198 for the first time in 3 years, where all the other Medicare Advantage plans are still about $180 or so, like the United Healthcare plan. So this is like a pure rate manipulation, and I think that they're finally going to be exposed to that. I would really hope so, and I think the court recognized that that's exactly what they were doing, especially that the court put into the record that letter saying, "Oh, and by the way, the benchmark for those Medicare retirees is $7.50," and they did it at the last minute in the Supreme Court case under Justice Frank, like literally at the 11th hour. Jake did respond back because we were all stunned to see that. But even though they claim that that rate was $7.50, the rate sheets never said that. So, I mean, they were lying within their own agency. I think that's something that needs to be, exposed as well. But then I think um, the seven judges, so it will take a majority to come back with the decision, and hopefully they come back with us. It was interesting also to see that they were making inquiry about Benkowski, which led many of us to believe that they're probably going to accept the appeal on that. So be prepared for that to come in, that they may just but they may just hear that case, and we'll probably know that in a couple weeks, if not within the next week or two, that we will be headed back to Albany on that case. So, do you guys have any questions on that before I move on? So let's close out one subject and then go to the next. So, any questions on that, on what happened yesterday? Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions. So that's a good thing. Um, Monday. So I'm putting out another newsletter today. Monday is the day where coming out to support Jim Walden for his campaign for mayor. And so far he's an undeclared party, so he's running as an independent. And he's put up a list that we would of what he would help us accomplish, and those were three issues. Did the city lawyer say there would be options? Options for what, Elga? Yesterday's case, Joe, was Campion. It was, what is the administrative code? Like, what is the benchmark? What do they have to pay up to? And the city was arguing that it's the HIP VIP plan, which it's never been the HIP VIP plan. And they always allowed that you had a choice of plans. And that's what we were trying to express to the court, was that you always had a choice. And it was under the HIP rate. And the HIP rate is the HIP HMO rate. Um, that I think was important because we wanted the court to understand what was the benchmark. That's what part of that argument was about yesterday, is what is the benchmark? So that's the Campion case. That's the very first case we filed in 2021. How do I feel the court went? I You can never read the judges. That's how you know they're really good judges, is you can't read them. I know, like, I kind of feel like one, maybe two of them wasn't buying the city's, you know, position, but I just don't know. At the end of his statement, he said there would be choices. Oh, so Elga, he gave the city, if you remember in the beginning, the city wanted to give you a choice of plans. This is where what was disturbing to me from the United Federation of Teachers and some of the MLC leadership, they wanted to keep the choice of plans that you had. But if you didn't choose the HIP VIP plan or the Medicare Advantage plan, you paid. It would be the first time in 60 years someone would be paying premium for healthcare because the city intended the plans to be at no cost. So the city could offer more expensive plans, and the description is what is the base plan. So I think there's a little confusion on the city side. I mean, Richard Deering even said that the base plan was identified as the individual plan, which would have been the HIP HMO, which no one can join. That's not true either, because in the city, we have retirees. I don't understand this, but we have city retirees on the GHI family plan that are Medicare eligible, both of them, and both of them are on Medicare. And we've told the city this, and they just don't freaking listen. That was a shifty, sneaky for the pay up option. Yes. So to hear Michael Mulgrew say you have choice as a pay up option, like, what the hell normal union leader would tell people that they could have choice, but they're gonna pay for it after you haven't paid for healthcare forever? And to justify you paying, I mean, this blew my mind for 3 years, over 3 years now, that he justified, you should pay for your health care, you old folks, because I don't want to pay for mine. Um, yeah. it shows, tone deaf is running rampant lately. And this tone deafness in some of the union leaderships has to end because what they're not recognizing, they don't see us. They don't see you. They don't see your pension. They don't see your COLA. They just think that they're in this bubble that they're in. And they're not recognizing that at one point in their life, they're going to retire. They will be making 50% of what they're making today taxable. And while inflation is going high, they're not going to be getting their $5,000 or $10,000 incremental raises. They're going to be getting a cost of living adjustment known as a COLA 5 years after they retire, only on the first $18,000 of their pension, and the maximum is 3%. So the maximum you'd ever see is 520 bucks or 540 bucks. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but if you're talking about the most you'd ever get is $500 a year, you could blow through that between copays and between copays or filling up your car with gas. They don't see what a retiree's life is like because they are living in their own world. And then one day they are going to be retired and they are going to realize exactly, what that life looks like. Thanks, Mike. Now do this math. 1.8%, because I think that's the COLA for this year, 1.8% on $18,000. That's this year's raise. That's all you get. So these union leaders need to understand that they should be protecting their future because one day they're going to be retired and their paycheck isn't going to look like what it does now. Um, the little guy doesn't count. I know. So do I keep my Medicare and my senior care? Patricia, why would you not keep your Medicare and your senior care? There's been no court decisions. So thanks, Mike. $324. I mean, come on. So that's the court case. Let's go back to Monday. Monday, I need all of you guys to meet me at 225 Cadman Plaza East, across the street from 225 Cadman Plaza East, in the Cadman Plaza Park by the War Memorial. Meet me there about 9:30. We'll do our announcement of supporting Jim for mayor. And talk a little bit about what he's, how he's supporting what we've been doing, what we've asked of him, and that what we're going to ask of other candidates if they want support. They have to recognize that this is an issue. Union presidents can afford to pay for it. They absolutely can because they make more than the president of the United States of America. So come on down next week if you want to wear your t-shirt or a sweatshirt of ours or your buttons, you can. And I'll see you Monday. We'll be back here Monday in Brooklyn at 9:30 to do that endorsement for Jim. I want to see a sea of retirees. Elected officials need to know they have to worry about you, not a union leader with active workers not in their district, only working in their district. You live in their districts. They need to worry about you. So that's on Monday. Also, I want you guys to start today, and I know I've not put this up, but I'm sure you guys know who your council person is. You all need to start calling today and every day until we tell you to stop, calling and emailing your elected official saying, listen, the bill's been out now for over a month. You need to sign on to 1096 and protect our health care. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're allowing the mayor to implement Project 2025 and put all of us into a Medicare Advantage plan. If you're okay with that, then go ahead and ignore it. So I want you to start calling your council persons and urging them to get on the bill. And if they tell you they haven't looked at it yet, ask them when they're going to do that because we've been asking them to do it for some time. Councilman Marte introduced that bill a month ago. It's time. They need to get on this bill and they need to do it soon. And then we'll start putting up a action network. I'll see if I start drafting that today for tomorrow, but I am en route today to go home. Missed most. We'll catch on the rerun. Drake. Yep, Jake was great. Don't worry, Anne. We just kind of talked a little bit about what happened yesterday. Janice, wait till Dr. Oz heads the cabinet as medical advisor, Medicare advisor. So Dr. Oz still has to be confirmed for that position, and I'd like to hope that there's a group of Republicans in Congress that would definitely think twice on that one. Thank you, Mike Tambasco. It's intro 1096-2024, which is the year 1096-2024, sponsored by Council Member Marte that protects retirees' health care. So that's what you're going to ask your electeds to your city council members to support, to sign on to. Collective bargaining was mentioned quite a few times by the city lawyer and the judges. Do they still not know that retirees are not employees to be bargained for? So, what I want you to know is that while you may not have heard the argument, Jake and Steve's briefs do tell the judges that retirees are not in unions and they are not part of collective bargaining. But I think they wanted to hear what the city would say on that record. And my council member is useless, Keith Powers. Well, you should tell Keith, my dear, that Keith is term limited. He's no longer running for office and that he should be protecting the people in his district. So give him a call and urge him to stop in his office. Go downstairs and go to his office and go say, when are you getting on the bill, Keith? I heard he was looking to run for a higher office. I just don't remember which one. I know Dr. Oz has been promoting Medicare Advantage. Don't worry yet. I mean, he's not yet confirmed. Once he's confirmed, we'll have more of an issue. Carol says a motion was made yesterday at UFT retirees to endorse 1096 and it passed. Awesome. Now hopefully they do it. Helga Jaffe, did the shifty sneaking closing by the city's lawyer obviate the city's nuclear option appeal? I don't think that had anything to do with it, to be honest with you. I think both of those situations are individual, and I think they are curious about it. And remember, it only takes two judges of the seven to be interested in hearing case, right? And I think, part of me would probably want to believe that maybe there's a curiosity to listen to this case, because if they don't, this is going to keep coming back, if not in this jurisdiction, in another state jurisdiction, and it's going to end up coming before them again. And they're probably, if they're savvy judges, they're going to want to get ahead of that happening because there's a trend happening, right? I mean, some of the people that were on that bench used to be city workers, used to work in city agencies. So I think there's an understanding that bad things can happen and they want to protect that, make sure people are protected under the law. I mean, that's what I'd hope. So many people just still don't understand why we are fighting after 3 years. What are our chances of winning our cases? So Sandra, we've been winning for 3 years. I don't know why you'd feel discouraged. We haven't had any reason to not think we would win this. I mean, we've won the two lower courts with the unanimous appeals decision. So I can't tell you how this court will determine. I could just rest on the arguments that were made and hope that they find in our favor, and then work out whatever the issues are after. Work out if it's not favorable, what we do about that. Joe, if you go up on our website, nycretirees.org, and go up to latest updates, we explain all three cases. So the nuclear option case is the last case where the mayor, Spenkowski, where the mayor eliminated all of your health care plans except for the Medicare Advantage and wanted to force you into that plan. David, the city lawyer was incapable of directly responding to a judicial inquiry without obfuscation. And I think one of the justices called him out on that because he wasn't answering her question. But Richard has had this way of answering questions in a roundabout way. Um, yeah, it's all right. So what else you guys got? Yeah, Sandra, don't be discouraged. I mean, we don't have any reason to feel discouraged yet. And if you watched the court yesterday, I don't think there was anything in there that gave you reason to be concerned. But if you didn't watch it, I'd urge you to, because it's only like a half an hour, and you get an understanding uh, more of what, where the court's questions were. And then remember, the argument is in the brief. The oral argument is just icing. So yeah, thanks, Carol. Yeah, she needs to have faith. You're welcome, Eileen. I do. I want to try to see if I can get to the airport early and get home. Um, how do you hold your sanity? Trust me, it gets frustrating calling out people that just don't do the right thing. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. Joe, the copay case hasn't even been argued yet. Please make sure you follow Joe. Go on to our website. There's a little update down, just halfway down on all three cases. We tell you what they are, and I'll probably update them on the weekend. But there's nothing to say on the copay case. It hasn't been argued. So we'll see what happens. I want you guys to start calling your council members today. And if you don't live in the city, call the council person that's in the district where you used to work, and and give them your work address. So, and don't tell them you live out of their district. Just tell them you're calling. If they ask who you are, or if you email them, ask them, tell them if they ask you the work address of where you used to be. They still have to listen to you. And if not, well, then we'll just be annoying like we were last year. I'm not worried about that. We keep winning. I don't understand why it's allowed to be appealed over and over again. So, Andrea, you have two levels of appeals. This is the final appeal in the first case. After this, there are no more appeals on the first case, but we still have two other cases. And remember, many of these cases have multiple components. You have an injunction, and then you have the meat and potatoes of the case. So there could be two appeals on each of those. That's why it seems like forever. So thanks, Kathleen. You're welcome, Diane. You're welcome. Kathleen Gould, good morning. I just joined this group, so I'm not sure if you discussed this topic. Do you have any inside information as to whether Anthem is negotiating with MSK and will continue insurance coverage for MSK patients? So, Kathleen, if you are on Medicare, traditional Medicare is your primary, then this doesn't affect you. And we've been saying that from the beginning. We urge the city to put it out, and we urge the unions to put it out. If you are on traditional Medicare, Medicare Part A is your primary insurance, not Anthem. So that does not affect you at all. Um, if you are under 65, Anthem is your hospitalization, then it does affect you. Okay. Also, if you are in an Anthem Medicare related plan, that affects you too. So that's why we keep telling people that, like an Anthem Medicare Advantage plan, um, you need to just look at what plan you're in. I don't know your situation, so if you let me know, but I will tell you that I am being told by MSK that they are not accepting any Anthem Medicare Advantage plan going forward, whether they sign a contract with them or not. So they are coming out of the MA business. And they only got into the MA business with Aetna as a favor to Aetna, not to not because they wanted to, which tells me that they're not going to stay in Aetna for long. It was a way to get the contract signed in the city, and then they're gonna dump that. So if they're dumping Anthem MA, they're gonna dump Aetna MA. So Kathleen, I don't know if you're under 65 or over 65, and if Medicare is your primary, and that would answer that question. Carol, I'm one of those crazy Christmas houses, but I think I tore my shoulder yesterday, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because I struggled just getting dressed this morning. I don't know. And actually, the funny thing is I bought these really cute, that like little tinsel trees a couple of years ago, and I usually sit them behind me when I'm on the sofa doing the videos with you guys. And I literally just move them into the closet and close the door until the next year. That might be the most I could do this year. I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel, but we'll see. Um, yes, please donate, everyone. Keep your donations coming. We truly support that. I'll do the fundraiser update for Friday. So, Joe, if you donate by Zelle or outside the platform, we have no way of tracking who donates. If there's four Joe more guesses, I have no way to track which Joe made the donation. And that becomes an issue. It also is more manual that our bookkeeper has to be paid by the hour to track these donations and figure out who made them. And when he can't make them, it doesn't get counted. Now, if you make them through the portal, we know who made it because you're literally going into your own account, which I still need to do that other video on how to create an account. You'll be able to go in, your donation goes right through the portal. And when you log into your own portal, it's like logging into your own American Express card or MasterCard or whatever. You can see all of everything that you've done. You can update your address, update your email right there. So that makes more sense to do it that way. It doesn't make sense for us to use these platforms. Zelle will say, "Hey, Joe donated an X amount of dollars," but I don't get a full name, I don't get a full email address, and I don't get an address. So I can't track who made that donation. And we have reporting requirements that we have to meet with the IRS. I can't track this. So it's got to be done the right way. So Zelle and Venmo are both disappearing come December 31. If you've not made that transition, guys, you've got to make it because we're closing those accounts. Um, Out of city folks should mention that they can contribute to the office holder or a challenger. Good point, Walter. All right, Joanne, you have a good day at the doctor. Thank you, Elga. Down in Florida, many doctors won't take advantage. Insurances is very scary. Thanks for your dedication. You're welcome, Vera. You're welcome, Madeline. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for leaving the page open from Friday night Zoom. Hope this page is kept open for a day. Well, the threads will usually stay open. After they kind of like dwindle down, we close them. I know where you'd be, Linda. You'd be on Medicare Advantage if it wasn't for us. Kathleen says, "I'm not Medicare age. I've called MSK and Anthem. Both say that they're still in negotiations and a decision will be made by March 1st. Yes, and that's still correct. So then if you're under 65, I'm assuming GHI is your health plan and your Anthem Blue Cross is your hospitalization. This does affect you. And yes, they are still negotiating and I don't know where that's going to go. They have until December 31st to come to a contract and then there's a cooling off period until March 1. They can make a decision for then or after that. But I will tell you that is a very heated argument between the two of them. One wants more money and one wants to pay less. So we'll see where that goes. And there is no union that's going to be able to do anything about that. Sorry. I don't care what union leader is telling you that they're going to help to whatever, they can't help. This is strictly contractual between the insurance company and the hospital in what they're reimbursing them. They're not even accepting Anthem as a secondary. If we have Medicare, isn't GHR? Deborah, Deborah, please email the org with your personal situation. I don't understand that question. If we have Medicare, isn't senior care still in place? Yes, if you're on senior care as your senior supplement, absolutely. Then this does not affect you. Remember, Medicare Part A is your primary. If Medicare's primary, Part A is your primary payer for hospitalization, not the Blue Cross plan. You're fine. But I don't know what other plan you're in. If you're telling me that that's not the plan, well, yeah, just email the organization. Email us at retirees@nycretirees.org. So does that mean the Aetna contract with OLR will implode? I have no idea, Serena Mia. The Aetna's already charging more money to the city of New York going into 2025 for the two MA plans that they have. Um, Tommy, I don't think he's going to donate to the organization. He hasn't done anything for us. You could still call him and ask him to sign on. I mean, Marsha, for those who couldn't come on the Albany bus, please know Marian did an incredible job amount of work loading the bus with food that wasn't packaged the way we asked for, rounding up people, counting heads. Well, you guys helped me with that, making for everything carefree for those of us who were on the bus while she shouldered the work, which is why she now has a sore shoulder. That really hurts because I fell on my butt. Which is why she now sort of thank you, thank you. She's an incredible leader. Thank you, sweetheart. I do appreciate that. Yes, and so they were supposed to give us boxed lunches and boxed dinners like they did the last time, and the deli kind of screwed up. They gave it to us as like a catered thing, and thank God we coordinated with our bus driver, who I absolutely love. I think he's going to be our new bus driver going forward. And we ended up pulling up into like the Sororities dress stop, and we just brought all the food out and made a little buffet, and everyone just helped themselves because it was literally catering style, not box lunches. And then at the end, we went down to the Bowery kitchen and dropped off all the extra food so that it didn't go to waste. So, and they were very appreciative. We had a wonderful cab driver last night. When we got off the bus, we called an Uber to take us down to the Bowery. When the guy saw our boxes, he didn't want the boxes in his truck, and he literally abandoned us on the side of the road. So we flagged a yellow cab who took us to the Bowery, and not only did he drop us off and help us take the boxes out to the Bowery, he dropped off the other retiree that was helping me and then dropped me back off here. So it was a nice way to end the evening. Don't worry, Inez, you get better. You're welcome, Kathleen. I hope that helps answer your question. Yep. So that's really all I got. If you have anything else, I'll see you guys Friday. Um, Welcome to the new people. If you are new, please go to our website, nycretirees.org, and make a donation. You can do a recurring donation, so it comes right out of your account or hit your credit card on a monthly basis to help fund this thing. We will most likely be going back to Albany, not just for legislation come after January, February, but again for litigation. I believe they're going to take that Bentkowski case, that last case we filed in 23 that we won as well in the two lower courts. So we'll see what happens, and then we haven't been given a calendar date for the copay case. And then, of course, so Monday, I'm going to remind you again, and I'm going to send it in a newsletter. We're going to meet us Monday at 9:30 in Brooklyn, across the street from 225 Cadman Plaza, at Cadman Plaza Park by the War Memorial on the court side. You'll see a group of us there. So please come on out. I want to make sure that we show a really good showing for support for Jim, who wants to run for mayor and fix everything that's happening here. So I have that faith in him that he'd be able to do that as a very experienced litigator and bringing justice to people's lives. Maybe he would do that for us and other New Yorkers. Um, and then start contacting your council member about Intro 1096, 2024, and tell them to sign on to that bill. It's the bill introduced by Councilman Chris Marte. Also, if you're in the Chelsea area, Councilman Marte will be at the Chelsea Reform Democratic Club talking about our legislation tomorrow. When will the Friday night Zoom be? Late 2 weeks, very early last Friday. So, and it really just depends how I feel tomorrow. I really can't tell you. If I'm going to try to see if I can do it early, like maybe 6, and if not, then it'll probably be closer to normal time. But I'll post the time of when I'll be there. Let's say it'll either be 6 or it'll be 8. So that's my goal, 6 or 8. I'm going to aim for 6 because I'm tired. And hopefully by Friday, I'll be feeling a little bit better. So that's all I got. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks to all the moderators for helping out on the page and answering everybody's questions. If you didn't go up and watch that court, we'll look at my post from yesterday, watch the court page. Make your arrangements to be at Cadden Plaza on Monday at 9:30 in the morning. And call city council members and tell them you want them to sign the bill. So that's your homework for today. I'll put up an email as soon as I can, and that way it'll be an easy email for you to get out. Yes, Serena Mia, as soon as this is over, you can go back and rewatch it. I am recording this one, so I will also put this up on YouTube when I have a chance to download it and upload it back to YouTube. For right now, this will stay right here on Facebook. So you guys, you have a great morning, and I will see you Friday. Ciao, guys. See you later.